All right, guys. So I had two ideas that I wanted to pull out for this for this video. I thought they would both be kind of fun to do, and honestly, I was just like, yeah, let's do it. Now, I don't think I'll make this a thing, and please don't ask if I'll do this more of a thing. These were just two ideas that coincided, and I was just like, yeah, let's. It's kind of similar. Like they both have the similar theme, so I do both characters. So one is a better-known character, and we're going to start with a lesser-known character here. And this does have a bit of crossover universe, so keep that in mind. So, yeah. So the first thing is you can see right here, this is Meteor Man. Sorry about that. Anyway, so Meteor Man Rebirth is basically an idea I had after recently seeing the movie again, which I had not seen since I was like 10. But if you don't know the story of Meteor Man was basically technically the first black superhero in cinema. He wasn't based off of a Marvel or DC character. He was an original character. It's meant to be a comedy, but it's not funny. But it does have some neat ideas that don't go anywhere. It's not a good movie, but it has like some cool concepts. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to bring back the character of Meteor Man and see. And like do something fun with it, you know, do something fun with the idea. So let's get started with this idea. So like I said, this is kind of a shared crossover universe, so keep that in mind. But yeah, so let's get started with Meteor Man Rebirth. So Meteor Man Rebirth begins currently, like in current times, and it's been over 30 years, and since then Jefferson Reed, Meteor Man, has retired. He's basically stopped. He retired about 50, like a good 10 years ago. He retired about a good 10 years ago, and now he's just a full-on teacher at a high school in Washington D.C. He used to be a substitute teacher. Now he's a full-on teacher, and he's a English teacher. And he realizes it's not getting better out there. That's one of the reasons why he stopped being Meteor Man, was because he has like this conversation with one of the principals, and they're like, you used to be Meteor Man, right? And the reason why people know this is because everyone knew like his identity, like around the place. So obviously that guy, I was like, yeah, you used to, when there were no superheroes around, or very little. You were like one of the first superheroes, and you were like the first black superhero, and you could have been a role model, man. Like, what happened? And he's like, I tried so fucking hard to keep, my city safe from drugs, gangs, and whatnot, and everything else. But you know what? I couldn't do it. Because I had too much faith in people to fix the problem, and guess what? They did nothing. They didn't want a hero. They wanted a martyr. They wanted a fucking statue. Sorry, technical difficulties. But yeah, like Jefferson goes on this whole thing of like, they didn't want they didn't want a hero. They wanted someone like a statue to look at and have bird shit on it. That's it, and I just realized I could be doing so much more. I couldn't do enough in the costume, so I decided just hang it up and go about my business as and go and like see if I can help the new generation of kids here, keep them off the streets. And even then I feel like I'm failing. Government always, every new government says like, we're here for the kids, the new generation. Here we are pumping drugs into the streets. Gangs are getting stronger. The Golden Lords may be gone, like they are long gone, but like now they've been taken over by like all other different kinds of gangs. It's gotten bad. We're killing a planet. We can't afford. It's like he realized that the problem I could have done so much more, but I realized Meteor Man can't do everything. So yeah. Now, while this is going on, something has come out of space and has landed not too far away from somewhere in out in the wilderness of Maine, far in Maine. And the military is of course right there to show up in case of extraterrestrial encounter. And it's this being that comes out of the ship, a crystallized being like a humanoid crystal-like being called Dios, and Dios is just like, I am here for what's mine. I have followed the signature of what belongs to me, and the military's like, fucking kill him. So Dios, you know, he can create force fields. He can actually like multiply himself, like create image, like hard light constructs of himself. He can reflect bullets back. He's super strong. He's like, he is kind of like a space Godzilla on a smaller level, but not reptilian either. He's like a crystal humanoid like being. And Dios is just like, he's just wrecking house left and right until he grabs like a soldier and is like, bring me my Meteor, and then just fucking kills him. So the US government's obviously like, ooh, that looks really bad. And they're like, Meteor? You think he's talking about Meteor Man? And they're like, yeah, maybe we should call Meteor Man. It's like, you know, he's retired. You know, do we need a retired old superhero to help us, really? Let's get some actual superheroes. And if this conversation was a thing, you know, like, they would be very hesitant, like, let's put it all on the table. Like, you know, there would be some talks in the Pentagon where they would be like, we don't need a black superhero to save us white folk. You know, someone in that room would say that. So they just kind of lose, like, you know, Meteor Man, he's out of the league. Let's get some other people. Like, we have some other superhero people to help us. And sure enough, it's the United Heroes from Miraculous Ladybug. And the United Heroes encounter Dios, and he's just like, oh, a challenge, good. I was bored during my flight here. So Dios battles the United Heroes, and he actually holds his own against several of them, including Majestia. And when she goes down, it's like when she gets knocked down, the government is like, fuck. Someone call Meteor Man now. So Jefferson's just at home, and that's when he gets a knock on the door. It's the GJN, and they're like, hey, listen, so we know you're Meteor Man, and we let you go. When superheroes were coming out, we didn't like try to force your arm into joining teams or anything, but your ass got to get in that costume now, because I don't know if you've seen the news. He's like, yeah, I've heard the news. It's like some alien from outer space. He took down the United Heroes, and they're like, he's not just taking down the United Heroes. He is mopping the floor with every superhero that is coming across him. He's just mollywomping everyone who comes across him. And the GJN reveal, like, Dios has beaten down Danny. He's beaten down. He's beaten down the turtles. He's beaten down the extreme dinosaurs and the street sharks. He's taken down the mummies, the rangers. He's just doomsdaying his way to Washington D.C. and he's like, he's coming for the president, and they're like, no man, he coming for you. He wants you. That's why you are probably the only person left and strong enough to stop him. See, and a lot of heroes do respect him. And because he's like a forgotten superhero, and some don't remember him, but some do. He's kind of like, how I kind of imagine Meteor Man is kind of like the Blue Marvel of this universe, a super powerful hero that not a lot of people remember, but and wanted to help people without the need of her powers. So Jefferson has to get into his Meteor Man costume just as Dios has made his way to DC, and he's just wrecking house against the National Guard until eventually Meteor Man, comes before him and is like, I am who you're looking for. I'm Meteor Man. This stops now. And he's like, you're right. It does, because I can smell it off you. And he's like, what do you mean smell it on me? He's like, the meteor. That meteor came from my home world. That power belongs to me. My world was destroyed in a civil war, and our planet is a now migrant fleet of conquerors. Now, we've discovered that the energies from our planet, from the dead husk of our planet, gave us powers. Now, I've been looking for all the shards that landed on other planets and absorbing their energy, kind of like how you did. So you were that was supposed to go to me. That was I've even had to drain it out of people. You weren't the first person I've encountered, or first alien because he calls him an alien, like calls Meteor Man an alien, because to him he's an alien. He's like, you're not the first like non-one of my people to take it, so I'm gonna just absorb it out of you. So, you know, this, and then Jefferson's like, I don't suppose we can, you know, talk this out like gentlemen, right? And he's like, gentlemen, that's funny. So Dios and Meteor Man just throw down, and even though Jefferson has been out of the game, he just remember, one of his powers was he could just absorb knowledge just by touching books. So he basically touches all the books that were like autobiographies and stories about him, and he remembers all of his abilities and capabilities and just gets that confidence back, and he and Dios just wreck house against one another. The two do battle across Washington, D.C., even like smashing into the monument. And Dios is just like, I have never encountered someone, you know, who can use the power of my planet as good as you. And he's like, thanks. He's like, I'm gonna look forward to ripping it out of you after I remove your head from your body. He's like, okay. So the two continue to do battle, and Jefferson is, well, he's not doing great. He's got his back up against the wall, but eventually he does get the upper hand on Dios by, if he realizes, if he can absorb the power, then I can too, and absorbs it back into him, and Dios is left like a withered husk by the end of it. So after that, the people are like, holy crap, Meteor Man's back, and he's like, yeah, I am back. And he realizes, like, just like, I was feeling sorry for myself, and maybe it's time to lead this new generation of heroes as, you know, among them, instead of like living in the shadows of them. So there you go, guys. That's Meteor Man Rebirth. You guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of it? Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.